I pressed the wrong button. Yo! Hello, 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 hello. Here we are. Okay. Oh, this is very much right into it, huh? Yo, Concho. Oh. All right. So 6 classes, 2 ascendancies per class. My quick maths says 12. So let's take a look what they have in store for us, and we'll try to figure out what we want to play. I think I'll open up a notepad. And see if we find something exciting. Just right away, I have like... I saw these are taken straight from the trailer mostly. There's 3 things that interest me. Well, kind of 4, because talking to Matt about that fucking, like, making the enhancement shaman in PoE, that's the thing I like. That's a cool thing. So we have 4 ideas. One is like a sorcerer kind of thing, where it is lightning projectiles. With the firewall, like they showed in the they showed that in the gameplay trailer or whatever, and that looked super cool, with all the lightning shit and there's on fire. I really like that, and I think I saw you could make the fire thing a circle. Maybe there's something there that then you just fucking omnidirections, right? The only thing I'm scared of is that that's kind of stationary. So it'll end up either you have enough damage on just the lightning, and then what's the point of the firewall? Or it's gonna suck that you have to have the firewall scaling on your projectiles in order to kill things. But if PoE 2 is slower, like they said it is, then that's probably not a problem. Next thing is, I saw, it's again from the gameplay trailer, they had the warrior where you had like a sword and board, mainly just a big shield, right? And you block attacks, and then when you're ready to unleash damage, you switch to a 2-hander. I really like the idea of that. It looks super cool, but it's very basic and very open. There's a lot of... The only thing you've kind of gotten the hang of here is like a defensive layer and a defensive layer and a 2-handed weapon sort of damage type deal or whatever. Those two were from the what's it called, from the gameplay trailers I saw that look cool. Next, I think it's monk and mana stacking. I'm sure we'll see more of that. I feel like I saw something with mana stacking. I don't know where I have it from, but just a mana stacker, and monk is just kind of, I think that's where there's support in the Ascendancy, but I'm not quite sure. We'll see that later, I guess. And the last is make the enhancement shaman. So we have a lightning strike, and we have a molten strike. And we'll make some sort of weapon swap back and forward. We'll try to make... One is going to be the damage type, one is going to be like a debuffer or something. See if we can make that work. I think that would be really cool. Those are my 4 ideas right off the bat that I want to try and walk towards. Obviously Thor is still an idea. That would be cool. But we will see. I don't know if Mjolnir's in or how it works or how it looks or anything. So, especially not with the change to how gems work, right? Because now you're not slotting them in there anymore. Yeah. Those are... Oh, I'm fucking up. Those are the ideas, and pretty happy with them, I think, so far. Let's see. if we'll get some more. We'll start from the top. Sorceress Stormweaver. That is probably where we're gonna do the lightning projectiles, I'll guess. All right. Is that just not tiny, or am I getting old? Okay, 175 it is. I can read now, but I guess 200 is better. Okay. Let's see. So there's... We don't know what these are, I guess. Exposure you inflict lowers the affected resistances by an additional 20%. Okay. So it depends on how much exposure does, I guess. But an additional 20%. It doesn't really do anything. It's just damage, right? And then we get Elemental Storm. And we trigger on critical hit with spells. Ooh. If I'm gonna do like a massive amount of... If I'm gonna do a massive amount of projectiles with crit, this could be good. Is there a cooldown on it? It creates a stationary fire, cold, or lightning storm at a target location for duration based on the highest elemental damage type for the hit that triggered the storm. Hits which do not deal elemental damage will not trigger the storm. So if this does damage... If this... Let me rephrase that, because obviously it's going to do damage. If this does relevant damage, this might be a nice little addition. I don't know about getting just, you know, static, or not static, just getting extra damage on stuff. I generally speaking don't like it that much, but it might be really cool. This could also be like a Thor angle, although it's gonna be female Thor, and I don't much like the... that would be, what's it called? That would be changing parts of the character I'm trying to build, right? Okay, so where is 2? 2 is here. Okay, so if you take Elemental Storm, you'll likely go to Rain Dancer. Elemental... Oh, surprise. Elemental Storm has a 150% more cooldown recovery rate. So it does have a cooldown. But it doesn't say what the cooldown is. Then I'm all of a sudden very much less interested. If I can't just blast out insane amounts of them, interest goes down. I wonder how many you can have. Okay. Heavy snows. Targets can be affected by 2 of your chills at the same time. Your chills can reduce action speed by up to a maximum of 35%. Wait, of 35%, 25% less magnitude of chill you inflict. Okay, so you can hit them twice. I'm assuming chill reduces action speed by less than 35 normally, and this is a buff up, so you get more. And then 25% less magnitude of chills you inflict. So you have to invest into chill stuff for it. Okay, and where is that one? That one's here. And then we'll go to 5. All damage from hits contribute to chill magnitude. Okay, so... Okay. So you don't necessarily have to be frost damage for this. You could just spec into this and have chill on, say, a fire build or whatever. If you're not doing burning, because it has to be hits, right? And then we have the same, I guess. Targets can be affected by 2 of your shocks at the same time. 50% less shock duration. Okay. And then we go to Shape of Storm. All damage from hit contributes to shock chance. Okay. If shock is still increased elemental damage, strike twice seems very good. Where is 8? Oh, it's here. Okay, and then 8. You have Arcane Surge. Okay. You just have it? Arcane grants 10% more cast speed and 20% more mana regen. Oh, so they... Did it do more before? Maybe you can add stuff to Arcane Surge. And then 1% increased effect of Arcane Surge on you per 15 maximum mana. Okay, so there's some mana stacking here. And then we have Heart of the Storm. 40% of elemental damage recouped as energy shield. So very offensive. It only has Heart of the Storm, essentially. So if we get... Well, 8... If we get 8 points again, right? Like... I guess if we're going mana stacking, we could go Arcane Surge with Force of Will. And then into Strike twice. And then put... Nah, maybe not. Strike twice seems pretty good, though. If it does what I think it does. I guess it would be Scouring Wind Strike twice for damage. But Chill is a decent layer of defensive, right? Like... 40% of elemental damage taken recouped as energy shield. I struggle to realize how good this is. Let me rephrase that because that was very loaded. I struggle to figure out how good this is going to be. Recoup over 4 seconds, right? That does not seem like it will feel good to pick, but... I'm guessing there'll be one for fire as well, and that's the last one that's coming in, because right now we just have... This is just the Storm. Surprise. Stormweaver. That's kind of cool. It's an option. I'll note it over the lightning projectiles. Stormweaver. Potentially. And for the mana stacker... We'll ride it again. If Shock works the way it did in PoE 1, I think having 2 of them, that sounds insane. Also, exposure, additional 20%. Not from 12 to 20, right? Like, it's an additional 20. That also sounds kind of insane. But they did something with changing it so you can't go into negative. So the question is if you're going to have plenty of pen, making this one sort of like a waste of points in a sense. Because if it's super easy to get these 20% pen or whatever, this is not exactly pen, but if it can go into negative resistance, it's kind of the same. Then that just seems like a little bit of a... wasted 2 points. And if you are stacking mana, why would you not get Force of Will? Oh man. Like the ideal world, I get Force of Will, spend 4 points for that. I get Strike twice. And I get, what's it called? Heavy Snows and Shaper of Winter. I guess maybe they'll have those, maybe they'll have those things again where you can pick. Where you can pick so that you get, what was it? Plug it into the 2 gem slots and you get a, plug... The ones from Fireboy and what was it, Eater of Worlds and Searing Exile, those 2 gems, and you got an Ascendant point. Seems cool. Seems cool. Let's move on. Chronomancer. Time to stop time. Where do you... Oh, you start here. Dude, I love the hourglass. All right. Skills have a 33% chance to not consume a cooldown when used. Huh. So if that cannot be stacked higher up, and that's like just the effect you get here, then that creates some very not fun gameplay, I want to say. And then you get Unbound Encore. Time Snap. Manipulates time reset the cooldown to your other skills. So that will get you... that would add some... What's it called? That would add some consistency to it, right? Because let's say I have a cooldown and that's the damage I do, right? Hit it, resets, hit it again, doesn't reset. Then I hit Unbound Encore, hit it again, right? Like, so more often than not, you should be able to, because also I'm guessing Unbound Encore can also not consume a cooldown when using it, right? That could be cool as fuck. Let's see what else. Time freeze. Wait, where? How do you get there? Okay, so you should look at 4 first, I guess. There's no way to get to time freeze without temporal rift. Okay, footprints in the sand, right? Because you start here. And you go here 1, that's now and again. Here 2, that's Unbound Encore, but there's no line here. So you go here 4. So Temporal Rift passively leaves after images of your recent past. Cast a spell to return to the oldest after image, teleporting to that location and resetting your life, mana, and energy shield to the values they had at the time. That's a WoW spell. That is really cool. Life, mana, and energy shield. So it's only defensive. There's no cooldowns or anything. And you obviously have to pay attention to which one is the oldest after image. So that sounds difficult. Like you go around, you take a huge hit, you heal up, and then you gotta wait for that after image that has that huge damage taken to go away before you can use it, because otherwise you're just gonna essentially kill yourself. It's cool though. I like the idea. Chronomancer is definitely something that could be interesting, just for the flavor, right? Like, let's see what time freeze is. Release a large wave that stops time for all affected enemies for duration. Duration is lower the more times the enemy has had time stopped on them. So you just press it and you stop the entire screen. That's kind of cool. And then there's here. In here, 5 every 12 seconds gain 5% more 50% more cast speed for 4 seconds. Every 12 seconds gain 50% more cast speed for 4 seconds. So it's bursty kinda. And then we go 6. Enemies in your presence are slowed by 20%. Okay. They have less than this one. Enemies in your presence are slowed by 20%. Are there damage to slowed? Is that a thing? Like, I guess them not moving as fast is kind of nice, but that's... Unless there's some scaling baked into having, like, debuffing enemies with slow. That seems like sort of useless. 30% of damage recouped as life. Okay. Recoup effects instead occur over 4 seconds. Recoup effects instead occur over 4 seconds. So right now how it works is I take 100 damage, 4 seconds later I get 30 damage back. If I take the rapid river, I'll get 7.5 every second ish. Is that what I'm reading? This doesn't seem that cool. I mean, if I were to play this, it would be now and again Unbound Encore and Footprints in the Sand. And then the last one's kind of up in the air. Probably Ultimate Command just because it's cool, but I think this one needs work. I mean, unless there's enough cooldowns to just make that into big enough scaling, but this seems weird. If you compare it to its to Stormweaver, right? You have damage scaling. You have damage scaling. You have attack speed, cast speed, sorry, and then scaling of that. So again, damage scaling. And then you have some utility here where you can make everything shock, you can make everything chill. This one's sort of defensive, right? And then you have this that's just flat damage, and you have just a little bit of defensive here. You have damage scaling here. You have defensive here. This is pseudo defensive. But I mean, why would you not just have everything be chilled instead of just everything near you slowed? Like, chilled is action speed. That one's just slow, but maybe it's the same, but I don't think so. This seems a little underwhelming, unless now and again an Unbound Encore is just insane. The Temporal Rift thing can be good. For sure it can. It's player skill dependent as well, so that's cool, but this seems a little dead on arrival, unless, like I said, now and again an Unbound Encore is gonna fucking carry the shit out of it. Every 12 second gain 50% more cast speed. That's obviously really powerful, right? But it's only up 25% of the time, and then you get sort of the Diablo 3 whatever ring gameplay, and I didn't really enjoy that. Okay, let's Chronomancer, not super excited. That this seems a little dead on arrival. Stormweaver seems good, not super interesting either. Let's look at the warrior Titan. So this is Fury Warrior, right? Oh, that has a lot. Okay. Okay, so we can go 1, we can go 2, 3, we can go 4, 5, we can go 6, 7, or we can go 8. Okay. Stone Skin, 50% more armor from equipped body armor. Okay. 2, 20% chance for slam skills you use yourself to cause aftershocks. Aftershocks are bursts of area damage that occur after the initial impact of the skill causing them. If not otherwise specified, the aftershock will deal the same damage as the initial impact in the same area. So double damage. 20% chance to do double damage. Well, not just double damage, right? 20% chance to duplicate. That is basically... if they move, it's not, but you get the hit things twice, I guess. Okay, up to 3. Every second slam skill you use yourself is ancestrally boosted. 20% more damage and area of effect. Okay. And it's every second. Okay. Then we can go 4 or 5. Carry a chest with adds 20 inventory slots. Okay. I mean, I guess that's nice at a certain point, but... And then you go 50% increased effect of small passive skills? But like all of them? Not just in the Ascendancy tree? Huh. If it's just the Ascendancy tree, we obviously... Well, I mean, either or. If it's all of them, it's hard to... All of them would add up, right? But if it's just the small ones, it's hard to really know how much that'll add up to. That's kind of interesting. It's a little bit sad you have to go through a useless one. Like that, it's not like... Up here, for instance, right? You have to spend 4 points to get to all damage from hits contribute to shock chance. But you're getting strike twice, right? So you're spending 2 points for each skill. Down here, in order to get holding form, you're spending 4 points. Okay. 6. Your hits are crushing blows. Heavy stun on enemies that are primed for stun. I don't know what that means, but I guess we'll figure that out Friday. Crushing blows cause a heavy stun. So it's not a damage increase. It's just a heavy stun rather than a stun, and they need to be primed, I guess. Okay. 7, 40% more damage against heavy stun enemies. Prime... Oh, it's right here. I'm stupid. Normal enemies are primed for stun when they have at least 40% heavy stun buildup. Magic enemies instead 60 buildup, and rare at 70% and unique at 80. Okay. Heavy stun. Hitting an enemy builds towards a heavy stun based on the damage dealt. Different enemies have different heavy stun thresholds and duration. With very large monsters having a high heavy stun, players cannot be heavy stunned. While an enemy is heavy stunned, they cannot act and count as immobilized. Physical damage and melee damage each cause 50% more heavy stun buildup. These bonuses are multiplicative with each other. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Okay. And then we can get Mysterious Lineage. 50% more life. 15% more life. Oh, so this is not the... I thought this was the Fury Warrior one where you could like equip two-handers. Titan, huh? This one seems pretty defensive-ish. What would I do here? Wait, if we're doing slam... 2-3 seems pretty good. Oh. You always want 1 and 8, right? Like... But then again, you can have the slams and the crushing blows. Okay. Well, this one's pretty cool. Let's see Warbringer. This must be Fury then. Okay, so you can go 1, 2, you can go 3, you can 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Anvil's weight. Break armor equal to 10% of hit damage dealt. You can break enemy armor to below 0? Oh, shit. Here we go with negative resistances. That seems really good. So you get to build up, and then do massive damage, I guess? Unless you have to consume armor break. I'm looking forward to seeing what that exactly means. I saw that you could consume armor break, so it's the question is armor break a debuff that lowers their armor? Or is it like a debuff that you then consume with an armor-piercing attack? Like, is it going to benefit all your attacks, or is it going to be one big blow? If it's one big blow, I'm less interested. I don't like that kind of playstyle more often than not. Okay, Jade Heritage. Grant skill encased in Jade. Gain a stack of Jade every second. Consumes all stacks of Jades to grant a buff for a duration that absorbs all damage from hits up to a maximum based on the amount of Jade consumed. You cannot move or perform actions. So it's Ice Block. Okay. It's definitely got some use, but like you can use it to cheese stuff, I guess, but it's not very interesting. Grants Ancestral Spirit. Trigger Ancestral Spirit when you summon a totem. Each of your totems will summon an Ancestral Spirit minion to fight for you. That's the... Was it the monkey that just ran off screen? If the totem that summons the minion dies, then the Ancestral Spirit will too. Okay. And then Wooden Wall. 20% of damage from hits is taken from your nearest totem's life before you. Okay. Renly's Training. Gain 40% base chance to block from equipped shield instead of the shield's value. Gain 40% base chance to block from equipped shield instead of the shield's value. And then Turtle Charm, 35% less block chance, but you can block damage from all hits while shield is not raised. Okay. So you can hold your shield and you can raise your shield, or? And now you don't need to raise your shield anymore, but I guess you still have to hold it. Huh. Okay. Corpses in your presence explode when you walk right, dealing 25% of their life as physical damage. And then ignore Warcry cooldowns. Wait, where's the one that let you use two-handed? Was that just a regular node? I thought that was an Ascendancy. Well, this is just a math question, I guess. Whether or not the shield value is higher than 40%. I guess that means you don't roll any of the more block on the shield. And you just take the 40... Sorry. I guess you just... Instead of getting like flat block or whatever block percent on your shield, you just not get that and get all the stats and then pick that one. I'm pretty interested in 1-2, the armor break stuff. Other than that, this one's not much for me, depending on how Turtle Charm exactly works. Warcries might be very good, but I don't really like the idea of just all the time. This kind of deflated the warrior idea a little bit. I don't think... There's some cool shit up here. I'm not really sure. Okay. Ranger time. Deadeye. Let's see. Is that just the same? I think it might just be... It was a lot of the same. Oh, you have 4A and 4B. Interesting. 1, 2... And then 4A... Wait, what? 1, 2, and then 3. And then you can get 4, and you can pick either or, and then 5. Okay. So, 1. 30% chance that if you would gain friendship charge, you instead gain up to maximum friendship charges. That sounds very familiar. Benefits from consuming friendship charges for your skills have 50% chance to be doubled. Okay, that's pretty cool. You have no accuracy penalty at a distance. That's very cool. Then you can get other shit. Okay, so now we can pick between these two. Point blank or far shot. Oh, okay, so those are the same, right? Just like either you're doing close or you're doing far. Okay. And then you get endless munitions, an additional projectile. Cold shot, you can apply an additional mark. That's kind of cool. They were pretty powerful. Gain tailwind on skill use. Lose all tailwind when hit. Stacking buff that grants 1% increased movement speed, 3% increased skill speed, and 15% increased evasion rating per stack for 10 seconds. Okay, it's pretty cool. So you get what? 30% movement? No. 10% movement, 30% skill speed. Jesus, 150? Increased evasion rating. And then 30% less damage taken. It's pretty good. Okay, Pathfinder. I'm guessing we're... Holy shit, 5 A, B, C, D, E? Are you kidding me? Jesus, okay. So what? You go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you can go to 5. And then there's 6 and 7, 8. Okay, so... 50% more flash charges gained. That sounds so useless. Life flask effects are not removed when unreserved life is filled. Life flask effects do not queue. Dude, that seems so useless. But maybe there's gonna be some... There has to be some insane unique life flask or something that can do something crazy. Otherwise, why would you ever pick this? I guess... if you can have your life flask running all the time, maybe? And it's like... what's it called? Regen, right? Okay, so 3, 4. Most damaging poison on enemy you kill is spread to other enemies within 1.5. So it makes your single target dot spread. That's kind of cool. And then overwhelming toxicity. Double the number of poison you can inflict on enemies. Okay. Double the number of poisons. Okay, so now you can pick a concoction. Consume charges from your mana flash to throw a bottle that explodes, dealing chaos damage, poison inflict. Consume charge from your mana flash, throw a bottle that explodes, dealing lightning damage and lightning exposure. Mana flask again, cold damage, cold exposure. Explode on a fire exposure, and then bleeding. Bleeding inflicted by this skill has more effect. Has more effect. What does that mean? Okay, we go to 6. Grants 5 passive skill points. Huh. Okay. 30% less movement speed penalty when using skills while moving. Okay, that's kind of cool. And your speed is unaffected by slows. There might be some insane unique that slows you down. In order to give you a benefit that you can use this with. Otherwise... I don't think I'll be going for the ranger, but never say never. I like the contagious contamination, and I like the potential of relentless pursuit. Okay. Witch. Blood mage. Okay. And we have a little heart sort of thing, and we can go... Oh, so you have to take one. That is kind of wild. Everybody gets life remnants. Skill gain a base life cost equal to base mana cost. Drinks the blood of your enemies to restore your life. While active, enemies you kill have a chance to spawn a life remnant, and critical hitting a target spawns a life remnant every few seconds. Picking up a life remnant grants you life, which can overflow maximum life. So everybody gets this. So all of your skills... It's not that they cost life instead of mana, they cost both now, and equal amounts. Okay, so you have to get that. So essentially for this class, you only have 6 Ascendancy points. And then you can go 2, you can go 3, you can go 4, and then 5, 6, that's or 7, 8. Those are massive investments then, right? Because that is in comparison, I guess they're still just the 2 pointers, but you've already spent the 2. It's because the small ones are just travel nodes. So for me, you have 4 Ascendancy points rather than 8, but you have 8. You've already spent 2, so you only have 6. So spending 4 is a bigger investment than spending 4 when you have 8. Okay, so if we go to 2, 10% spell damage leeches life. Okay, that sounds pretty good. 3, your curses have infinite duration. That sounds very quality of life. And then you can go blood barbs. Getting 10% of damage as extra physical damage. Elemental damage also contributes to bleeding. You don't have to be sad if you have a small one. True. Wait, so gain 10% of damage as extra physical and elemental damage contributes to bleeding magnitude? So you can make elemental bleed with this? That's kind of cool. And you have Gore Spike. 1% increased critical damage bonus per 40 life. And base critical hit chance for spell is 15. Okay. So a life stacker? Let's see. Grasping wounds. 25% of life lost from hits is prevented. Then that much life is lost over 4 seconds instead. That's kind of nuts. Gain energy shield from equipped body armor as extra maximum life. Oh, this one's a banger. We're listening to that. Okay, so what would I do here? I need to figure out exactly how overflow works. I was hoping there'd be a thing here. Okay, so it's just, it lets you go above. Okay, but I don't know how the duration is. Man, that I want to listen to that again. It's so freaking good. Did I go too far? That is a banger. Okay, so the problem I have with this one is if I were to do a life stacker, right, there's nothing here that scales your life really except for Crimson Power. And if you get Crimson Power, you can't really get anything else. Like if you get Crimson Power, you have 2 points left. Then you can get Vitality Siphon, which is probably the best, I guess, because you have 25% life loss from hits is prevented, then that much life is lost over 4 seconds, then some leech would sort of balance it out. Blood Bobs is kind of good, but then you are... Like one thing you could do is you could go Crimson Power and then go into Gore Spike, but then you don't get Vitality Siphon. Sunder the Flesh is pretty good, but maybe it's not necessary. It sucks that you have to take Sanguimancy. But I mean, it is the fantasy, right? But also overflowing max life sounds really powerful. I wonder if Gore Spike will scale with overflow. Because that could be wild. But it also depends how overflow works. Like, can I just... There must be a cap, right? That or they each have individual durations. I'm sure some people will do some really cool shit with this. I feel like this sort of relies on the uniques more than... Maybe they all do a little bit more than... Like you, it seems like it's kind of hard to just get a beat on a idea and like a... From just the Ascendancies. Wonder how much HP you get in PoE 2. In PoE 1, this would easily be 100% increased, right? Because you'd have 4,000 life easily. 100% increased critical damage bonus is pretty good. I wonder if this alone is enough to like drive damage for a life stacker in PoE 2. It shouldn't be, right? This one up here had some life stuff as well, right? Like, but it was just 15% more life. So this kind of depends, right? Like, if you can get the damage from a unique or something, then this one's better. If you can get the flat scaling from something else, then this one's better, right? At least so far. Because if the Wrath Pit or Wrath Globe or whatever the shield is called isn't in, then you have Gore Spike, right? Like, if that's not in, then stacking life doesn't really do it. Well, something similar, not specifically that one, right? But something similar. Then stacking life isn't really going to do much, right? Blood Mage sounds cool. Let's see Infernalist. Oh, okay. That one's elaborate and it has more than any others. It's a little bit of a shame that some has 11, others only have 8, right? Like, also Pathfinder seems to have a lot, but they only really have freaking 8, yeah? Like, obviously, yeah, there's a lot of these, but you only pick one. But yeah, they shouldn't just put something in just to put it in, right? But, alright, so you can go 1 and then 2, 3, 4. Or you can go 5, 6, or you can go 7, 8, or 9, and then 10 and 11 are standalones. Okay. Altered Flesh. 20% of cold damage taken as fire damage. 20% of lightning damage taken as fire damage. 20% of physical damage taken as chaos damage. Okay. So some conversion here. That's potentially strong. It depends on what else is. Yo, Rangson, welcome. That is interesting. That's a very powerful effect, but it obviously requires you to have stuff to manipulate it with as well. Okay, and then we have 3 things. So Beta's Gaze, Will, and Hand, and they all reserve life. You get maximum mana per 6 life, or you get maximum spirit per 25 life, or you get maximum energy shield per 8 life. Oh. UE2 looks so good. Yeah, it really does. I'm looking forward to it. I'm super hyped as well, man. Luckily, I'm not feeling the wait as much because I'm pretty locked in on Valheim right now, so it's not as hard waiting. But I am excited. I'm looking forward to it a lot. So I wonder if you still have the low life stuff. Because if you take 2 of these, you'll always be a low life, right? And you could get Spirit and Energy Shield. If you go... It's the Baldur's Gate 3 soundtrack. It's really good. If you haven't played Baldur's Gate, you should. There's some shit with this. Oh, you really should. It's so good. Well, Game of the Year last year, I think, right? If you like story, and if you like storytelling, and if you like story-based RPGs, it's really good. I don't know if you've played Divinity Original Sin. It's the same company. The game is not the same, but it's similar. It's like a... I don't know what it's called exactly. It's a turn-based RPG, basically. It's D&D. You can't play those kind of games? Fair. It's a D&D... it's a D&D PC game, basically. It's really cool. And then there's no demon form. Shapeshift into a demon, vastly boosting the power of your spells. You gain demon flame every second you remain in demon form, causing your life to be lost at an ever-increasing rate. Revert to human form if you reach 1 life. Use a skill that isn't a spell, or reactivate the skill. What's the cooldown of this? Maximum 10 demon flame. What's that mean? Does that mean you cap out at 10? So you... Okay. So this is the way to maintain demonic possession. So that's the thing where you do a lot of extra spell damage, but you take damage as well, right? Or you take extra damage. Maybe it doesn't say that. It just says you cause life to be lost at an ever-increasing rate. I thought they said you took more damage in that form. I feel like they said that in the... Yeah, you burn, yeah. But I feel like they said that you take increased damage from enemies. But maybe I misunderstood. Maybe it was the burning thing. Or maybe they've changed it. Because I feel like they said you do more damage, but you also take more damage. But if it's righteous fire, essentially, then it just becomes a math question, right? You're going warrior for bigger storage. We haul that shit around. This is a little loud. Or maybe it's just for me. 20 extra bag slots. Let's go. I don't want to use my TP, whatever they're called, to teleportation scrolls. This seems so powerful, but it obviously depends on what gear is available. So the life lost at an ever increasing rate. I wonder if that has a damage type as well. Infernalist sounds insanely cool. Okay, wait, so which one? This was here, right? And then maximum mana is replaced by maximum infernal flame. Gain infernal flame instead of spending mana for skill cost. Okay. Take maximum life and energy shield as fire damage when infernal flame reaches maximum. Lose all infernal flame on reaching maximum infernal flame. 10% of infernal flame lost per second if none was gained in the past 2 seconds. Okay. Take maximum life and energy shield as fire damage when infernal flame reaches maximum. So you don't want that to happen, I guess. You're probably gonna see if you can build Righteous Fire on it too, but... No, I meant it works like Righteous Fire. Oh, you meant your Titan, fair. Apparently, the Righteous Fire works a bit different now as well, right? There would be some merit in I think Jonathan said something about it. It's essentially a different skill, but it'll still be very much the same, but it does something else or something. Maximum mana is replaced by maximum infernal flame. Gain infernal flame. So spend, cool off. So essentially, if you go hard, right, you get to 99 whatever, then you have to wait 12 seconds to go again. But you could go to 8 while not on low infernal flame. While not on low infernal flame, all damage from you and allies in your presence contributes to ignite chance and magnitude. While not on low infernal flame, all damage from you contributes to ignite chance. So everything except fire can ignite. Okay? Everything. Fire can ignite always, and now everything else can as well. That's what I meant to say. While on high infernal flame, you and allies in your presence gain 20% of damage as fire damage. That seems like such a ball ache to manage. That seems so annoying. So there are things like mana burn. That's a thing. I wonder if that will do something with this. I don't think so. Because that kind of would defeat the purpose, right? If you could just stack enough mana burn to kind of keep this going. I also don't know if there's mana burn in the... I also don't know if there's mana burn in PoE 2. But there was in PoE 1. But surely that would defeat the purpose, right? Ain't no way. But maybe? But it still seems like a ball ache to fucking manage. But I guess if you just get enough max mana, so you don't... but stacking mana to turn it into this for quality of life does not sound like... But at the same time, if you don't... This is something I have to play with this in order to... And it's one of those things where I don't really want to, because it seems like it's dog shit to play with. This is one of those mechanics where I'm like, no, thank you. Okay. Loyal Hellhound. Summon Infernal Hound. 20% damage from hits is taken from your Hellhound life before you. Okay, so 20% DR. Summons a reviving Infernal Hound, which ignites enemies near it. The Hound takes supportive damage from hits. So it revives itself? That's kind of cool. And then Grinning Immolation. Become ignited when you deal a critical hit, taking 15% of your life and energy shield's fire damage? But you get 30% more critical strike damage, or critical damage bonus. Okay, so you would probably want demonic possession, right? If you don't cap, then it'll just go until it kills you. And if you cap it, you could realistically... You could maintain it forever. But that's 2 points. And if you take those 2 points, then you can't get the 20% DR from the Hellhound, as well as Grinning Immolation, as well as Altered Flesh. The chaos damage is a bit of a curveball. Why wasn't it just everything fire damage? Kind of weird that physical goes into chaos rather than also into fire. Yo, Matt. Welcome, welcome. The Pyromantic Pact might be powerful, but it sounds so ass to play with. Demonic Possession without capping it? I wonder what the cooldown is. They released all the Ascendancies, yeah. No, I haven't gone to Monk. I got through... What have I gone through? Sorcerer? Warrior, Ranger, and we're finishing up the Witch. Next is... Mercenary? Monk is last. Yeah, Altered Flesh looks really good. I'm thinking Beidad's Will could be good, but I'm not sure. But it also seems a little bit like a... There has to be some strong auras or whatever. Don't you get, like, build an aura? Right? Because you get to add support gems to your aura, which essentially lets you build your own aura, right? So maybe you could make some... Could work with low life build. Yeah, it's... I haven't seen the passive tree. If spell damage on low life is still a thing, then popping 2 points in here, getting some... What's it called? Max, some energy shield and some spirit. Boom, boom. Blast. Right? Like, you're permanently low life, you go blast. But that is... what, 6 points out of your 8 on the Ascendancy tab? I feel like I want Altered Flesh. And if you pick Infernalist, you kind of want Demonic Possession, right? And if you have Demonic Possession, you kind of want to max the Demon Flame, right? So you could have it... So you can have it permanently active, right? You just need enough... You just need enough regen to have it rolling then, right? Because otherwise the Demon Flame is just going to keep stacking and it's eventually burn you to death. But if you cap it, then you just need to find that sweet spot of life regen, right? Demon form is essentially Righteous Fire. And I think they changed Righteous Fire, right? Like, Demon form is essentially just Righteous Fire. It makes you do more spell damage, and it burns you every second. There you go. Righteous Fire, yeah? There is, but it's slightly different. But I don't think it's in for the EA. Yeah, Jonathan said that Righteous Fire is different now, but it's still also the same, right? So they did confirm it was there, but I don't think it's in early access. But Demon form works how Righteous Fire does in PoE 1. Except for the scale, like the stacking rip box. I guess. He'll probably just do Demon form, bro. It's the same. Although he doesn't do damage around him then, I guess. But like Demon form does the same. It just doesn't do the damage, I guess. So maybe rip him actually, yeah. Unless you could become... There's no way you get... Gotta put respect on you. Unless you can become completely immune to fire, then I think Master Darkness is just almost a must if you want to run demonic possession. Unless you want to min-max uptime on it and toggle it on and off, which sounds annoying. I guess you could just have a movement skill that's not that skill. Sure, you can get increased max fire res. Oh, for sure. But I'm talking pure immunity, right? Because if you read this, you gain Demon Flame every second you remain in demon form, causing your life to be lost at an ever-increasing rate. So you're just gonna die eventually, except if you're immune. Like, even at 99.999%, you'll eventually die, right? Like, or not die, but go to 1 HP. And especially with maps, no, it doesn't kill you. It's just, you go to 1 HP, and then you snap out of demon form. So if you don't cap it with Master Darkness, you have to min-max it, right? You have to babysit it then. Because whenever you... if you reach 1 life, you use a skill that isn't a spell, or you reactivate the skill, you'll revert to your human form. So then you have to sit and like in and out of it, right? Unless you cap it. I wonder how good the Loyal Hellhound is. Like 20% DR from hits sounds pretty good. But how long does it take before it revives? And then you have Grinning Immolation. Become ignited when you deal a critical hit, taking 15% of your life and energy shield as fire damage per second. How long, though? Like, that sounds dangerous as fuck, but also 30% more critical damage bonus? That sounds pretty good. I'm gonna write this down. Infernalist. Focus on fire, TR, and converts. That sounds kind of meh. Being forced into a crit build? I mean, you don't have to take it, right? It's right here. Can you not see my mouse on the... Wait, is my mouse not on the OBS screen? I don't see it on the cam. Wait. What? Something wrong. Oh, it is here. Okay. It just doesn't show on the OBS screen. But that's kind of wild. I've never noticed that. I can't see it on the OBS. But yeah, so Grinning Immolation is here. So it's very, very optional. Also, it's a little bit annoying they haven't released what these points are. But yeah. Infernalist is interesting. That is I'm definitely going to level that eventually. Okay, Mercenary. Witch Hunter. A little flower. Okay, so you can go 1, you can go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8. Okay. 20 passive skills become weapon set skill points. Ooh. So you can go even harder into the whole weapon swap thing. That's cool. And then you can go Culling Strike with Decimating Strike. Yeah, you don't gain 20 passive skills. You can alternate 20 passives between weapons. I think they had 6 or something in the things, right? So you'll have 26 points that you can swap between, or however many. You'll have 20 additional points you can swap between weapons, right? Because it says become, not you gain. Yeah, it's a lot. It's cool. Okay, so Calling Strike and Decimating Strike. Calling Strike, Normal enemies alive 30% or below. Magic enemies 20, rare 10, unique 5. The thresholds are checked before the damage of the hit is applied. Okay. Decimating hits against full life enemies remove between 5 and 30%. Between 5 and 30? Is that then 30? Is that the same as the one up there? So it's 30 on regular, 20 on rare, 10 on unique, and 5 on... sorry, 10 at whatever, right? Concentration? I haven't gotten to that yet. Oh, concentration here. Enemies have less cooldown recovery rate. The lower the concentration, scaling down to 50% less cooldown recovery. Concentration 0. Where do you get oh, there. Witchbane. Decimating strike is just a clearer. Yeah. Like, that's just gonna help you clear faster. Like, hitting a boss for 5% more HP, unless they have some... Unless they have multiple phases, I guess. But hitting anything hard for like 5% is not gonna do jack. But when you are mapping, this means that you only have to do 40% of the monster's HP. And they're dead. Okay, so enemies have maximum concentration equal to 40% of their maximum life. Break enemy concentration on hit equal to 100% damage dealt. Enemies regain 10% of concentration every second if they haven't lost concentration in the past 5 seconds. Enemies have less cooldown recovery rate. The lower the cooldown, the lower the concentration, scale down to 50% less. Okay. So Searing Exile, I know it's a little bit in PoE 1, right? Because he probably only does those, right? But he would do at 60% of his life, assuming I hit him all the time and we take away the ball phase. The whole like disintegration, annihilation will come out 50% less often. As cool as that is, how useful is that? Like, realistically. For Maven, it would be memory games, right? Those would come in less. But she'd also reset every memory game because she goes untargetable for like 10 seconds or something. Not very for mapping. Do you think it is even for bossing? I mean, it depends on the abilities of the boss, for sure. If you make it just do basic attacks, yeah. If it has like big area denial sort of things, it will get you more uptime. Oh, but then 5 comes in. Deal up to 30% more damage to enemies based on their missing concentration. Now we're talking. So I'm not overly sold on the... Like, it's cool. But I don't know how big of a difference it will make. But then you get 30% more damage. Yes, please. That sounds very good. Is that scaling just like the... So in PoE 1, there are different avenues of scaling, right? And one of the ones that came in, I think, last or whatever, was the one where if they're in your concentration, they take X amount of damage. So monsters take X more damage, right? I wonder if that works the same way, so that is a massive multiplier, or if it's just a regular big, more damage multiplier. I think you can do some cool shit with this. All right, so next, Obsessive Rituals grants skill sorcery ward, 50% less armor and evasion raising. Ooh. Passively manifest a protective barrier which takes elemental damage from hits for you until depleted. The barrier instantly recharges to its full value a short time after it stops taking damage or is fully depleted. So you... So it's just a shittier energy shield, basically? Kinda. Depending on the value, I guess. Okay, 7. 50% increased effect of sorcery ward and it recovers 50% faster. Okay. And we have Zealous Inquisition. 10% chance for enemies you kill to explode, dealing 100% of their maximum life as physical damage. Bro. Well, if Witchbane isn't very good for clearing, this one sure as fuck is. Boom, 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 boom. So this thing is... Wait, so does that work with Culling Strike and Decimating Strike? So it explodes before the hit, 30% life away. Blam, execute, bang. Oh no, execute is before as well. Dude, it seems like this one is just gonna be... This one has the best tech for clear and the best tech for bossing so far. It's just whether or not you can scale it. You'd expect Witchbane No Mercy for bosses. You'd expect Zealous Inquisition with probably Pitiless and Judge Jury. You feel like this is going to be the most played class? Yeah, it seems like this is just going to be the one that goes through everything. I mean, it just looks like this is going to be the speed farmer, right? Assuming you can get the movement speed. And it's also going to be the bosser. Imagine this with some kind of detonate dead stuff. Yeah. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. The Gemling Legionnaire. Oh, they did show some of this. This is all about the maps will be decimated. Yes. This is the one where you stick, like, you stick gems into yourself and you power up your skills or your gems. Okay, so you do 1 and then to 2 or 3 and you go 4 to 5 and 6, or you can go 7, 8. Okay. So temp quality of all skills. I think they said quality is going to be better in PoE 2, so that's kind of exciting. Plus 1 to level of all skills. That's always potent. Less cost of skills. 30% more attribute requirements. Ooh. Okay. Or you can go 3 additional skill slots? I wonder how powerful that's going to be. Are we going to find ourselves having issues with skill slots? Because if you could get yourself another, like, 4 link or whatever, and they're all going to be more links, right? Wait. Dude. I don't know if you want that many skills. I mean, depending on whether or not you can make them passive, right? This is like getting 3 extra, like, 4, 5, 6 links, yeah? Whatever the links are. Like, depending what pass, like, depending on your auras, depending on everything, right? Like, this could be redundant. It could also be insane, yeah? You can use 2 copies of the same support gem in different skills. Oh yeah, because you can only use support gem once. This might This might be good. You're here to steal my build? You will not get very far if you do. 1% to maximum cold resist, 1% to maximum fire, 1% to maximum lightning per blue, red, or green. What's it gonna be? I am not entirely sure. I haven't looked too far into skill gems and stuff yet. I've been trying to sort of leave the discovery, and I'm just gonna sort of pick something based on the Ascendancy. But I have, what, 5 ideas with a curveball as well. 2 of them are based on the promotional material. Tomorrow they'll probably release the tree. Then we're looking at the tree tomorrow. That's gonna be insane, and it will be a mess. Everybody's gonna be like. So in the video they showed a sorcerer doing lightning projectiles through the firewall, and it looked so cool. So I want to make that. They showed the warrior with weapon swapping, where they're using the shield to block attacks and then swapping to a two-hander. I was thinking about that. And then obviously a mana stacker. That's what I've been doing the last 2 leagues. That's kind of fun, but I don't know if I want to go down that route again. And then try to make an enhancement shaman from WoW, which is essentially lightning strike and molten strike with weapon swap stuff. I think that could be cool. It requires you to do some sort of one of them is a debuffer, right, and the other one's damage, and then take use of the weapon swapping stuff. Definitely not playing Archmage or Lightning Strike. I might be playing Lightning Strike, bro. And then the Infernalists look interesting. I do also kind of like this Gemlink shit. It seems cool. So 1 max cold per 4 blue support, 1 max fire per 4 red support, 1 max fire per 4 green. Okay. Attribute requirements of gems can be satisfied by your highest attribute. That sounds so nice. Inherent bonuses from intelligence, strength, and territory are doubled. Inherent bonuses. So is that the mana they give from int and stuff? Why would you take that? Even if you're stacking attributes? Even if you're stacking attributes, isn't that still shit? Like you get, I guess you get life from strength, right? You get armor, life, and like melee damage or something from strength, right? And you get accuracy, evasion rating, and what from dex? But you get... And then you get... You get spell damage, mana, and whatever from int? And you double them? Is that good? That doesn't sound very good, does it? Or am I weak? Am I wrong? Because whenever you do a strength stacker or whenever you do a like dex stacker, you have something or multiple things that turn your dex into stuff, right? And without that shit, it doesn't work. But are the bonuses from actually the attributes, is that actually good? Now, I get it if it's like you get double the int strength and dex for everything, right? Like rather than it's their bonuses that are doubled, it's the you just get twice as much from him. So it's much easier to do to meet attribute requirements and shit. Or it's much easier to actually stack a lot of it. But they're inherent bonuses. If they're the same as in PoE 1, isn't that shit? I mean, I think this one lives and dies by crystalline potential. Whether or not the quality is actually good in PoE 2 for all skills and not just some. And also support gems, I guess. I guess it's not quality on support gems anymore. It's just on the skill, maybe. And then integrated efficiency, I'm guessing. Like, how many skills are you actually going to get massive benefits from having those 3 extra? Or I could be wrong. Adaptive capability is quality of life, right? This one has potential. What seems like a lot of min-maxing. Do you think enhanced effectiveness is good? Or am I like I'm not good at PoE yet. Hopefully I will be. But that just seems like even when you stack, is it? Even when you stack life is bis apparently. But doubling that from strength? But sounds massive, but wouldn't you just like you can get 15% more here. And you can get your body armor energy shield as max life. Unless you're actually investing into strength. And is that worth an ascendancy point? It just seems so shit. What do you get right now? Oh, you guys have a black screen, I guess. What is it? The fuck's the button? No, it's C, right? 1 life, 1 melee fizz, 1 mana, 1 energy shield, 2 axe, 1 evasion. So you'd get 1 life per strength rather than half per strength. And you'd get 1 mana per int and 2 energy shield per 5. Four accuracy per dex and 2 evasion per 5. Assuming they're the same. This patch right now? Okay. Huh. I don't know, man. Unless there's something different in PoE 2, this seems very underwhelming. But I think they took all the life off of the tree, right? So maybe you're gonna just have to pre-patch. I was kind of excited for this one. I would want to do crystalline protocol and implanted gems. Those just seems good. And then I guess integrated efficiency into thaumaturgical infusion. That would be my... But gem started could be good. It also depends if level of skills is as good as it was, and it also depends if it's as good for not just spells but everything else as well, right? And the quality lives and dies by whether or not they actually did manage to make quality impactful. You're not smart enough to play this one? Dude, I'm not smart enough to play any of them, but I'll give it a go. Alright, time for the monk. Invoker. That's the one we're excited for. That's the... I think this is the one where we're going to try for the Elementalist... Or, sorry, Enhancement Shaman. Okay, it's a little bit distracting that you're singing right now, Raphael. We start over. Okay, so you go 1, 2. You can go 3 on its own. You can go 4 or 5 and connect to 6. Okay. 7 on its own, and then 8, 9. Okay. We start here. Lead me through grace. Gain 1 spirit for every 6 energy shield on equipped body armor. Gain 1 spirit for every 15 evasion rating on equipped body armor. Cannot gain spirit from equipment. Ooh. I don't know how much spirit you gain from equipment. And I don't know how much energy shield and evasion rating is on it. But that would be kind of a simple math thing, I guess. But it also depends how much spirit you need and what you can get instead then. And protect me from harm. Evasion rating also grants physical damage reduction. But you get 40% less. Ooh, ow. 40% less? Those are... I guess... if it's this one, you just kind of throw evasion rating to the wind and just do fizz reduction rather than actually trying to evade. But at what rate does it grant physical damage reduction? Is it at the same rate? That would be insane, no? But when it just says evasion rating also grants physical damage reduction, you would assume if I have 50% evasion rating, I'll have 50% damage reduction as well. But you get evasion rating up to 90, don't you? In PoE 1 at least. Or is it... It's 90, right? I don't fucking remember. It's probably going to be hard with 40% less, but... And then you can get Meditate. That's the one where you just get energy shield, right? Challenge to recharge energy shields. Can overcharge up to double its normal maximum? Channeling ends when you take damage or your energy shield is double its normal maximum. This skill cannot be used if energy shield is already double its normal maximum. How long? It sounds a little ass to have to meditate in between and find spots in boss fights to meditate, but stacking energy shield and then fucking doubling it, you're just immortal, right? Okay, so Invoker, Monk, Energy, Stack. Huh. Okay. All right, so now we can go 4, 5, and then into 6. So gain 10% of damage is extra cold. On freezing, enemies create shield ground. Gain 10% extra lightning. 25% chance on shock enemies to create shock ground. Okay. And then you can get Unbound Avatar. Oh, wasn't that already in PoE 1? Unbound Fury by inflicting elemental aims with hits on enemies. Once you reach Magma Unbound Fury, consume it to become unbound for duration, vastly augmenting your elemental prowess. Okay. And then you get 7. That's a standalone. Meta skills gain 35% more energy. I don't know what a meta skill is. Oh, fuck me. That's not what I wanted. You create your build by permanent bones like auras or meta gems. Reservation, meta. Use meta gems to trigger the linked active skills after meeting the correct condition. Cast on shock. Builds energy whenever you shock a foe. The energy. Okay, so it's kind of like this is like rune word from D4. So whenever you shock, you gain 10, and whenever you get 100, you fire. If you then have this, you get 13.5 instead of 10. Gotcha. Noted. Right. Okay. Cool. Critical hits ignore non-negative enemy monster elemental resistance. Oh, this is they stole that from the Inquisitor. And scatter them to the winds. Elemental expression on melee crit. Creates a fiery explosion. An arcing bolt of lightning or an icy wave of projectiles. The chance for an explosion is proportional to your strength. The chance for an explosion is proportional to your strength. For a bolt promotes your dex, and for a wave promotes your intelligence. Okay. So if I were to make this into an enhancement shaman, it would be, I am the thunder and I shall rage, and it is sunder my enemies and scatter them to the winds. And then we're stacking crit. That might work. Invoker Monk. Okay. I wonder how good lead me through grace and protect me from harm is. Cannot gain spirit from equipment. I don't know. It just sounds like a massive L. And then 40% less evasion rating is... And you can't not get the cannot gain any spirit from equipment, right? And that's sort of... Depending on the on the numeric things on the equipment, right? Kind of forces you into... It kind of forces you into going evasion rating with energy shield. But with this, you just go evasion rating, right? But then you'd lose a crap ton of spirit probably if you do that. It depends, right? So for every... You would anyway, right? What do you mean? I don't think you'd necessarily go energy shield, right? If you go for this one, you'd want just all the evasion rating in the universe, right? So you get physical damage reduction out your ass. Right? I don't know if you can convert elemental to physical, but you would try that at least, right? Like if you could. Because if you just and protect me from harm, you just want an evasion rating base, right? Like, so in order for you to not lose spirit, you need... Well, I mean, you need it to be like multiplicative, right? Like if there's... One would assume that when it's 6 energy shield and 15 evasion rating, that is sort of the... That is sort of the... What's it called? The ratio between them-ish? So an energy shield chest will have... Oh, an evasion rating chest will have 2.5 times as much stat as an energy shield one will have. But then you... That's gonna be interesting. That is going to be interesting. All right, last one. The Acolyte of Chayula. Dude, I really love the idea of this. It's like, yeah, they're worshipping this thing and they don't know what it is. And you found out it's a fucking demon and you just embraced it and said, all right, fuck it, let's go. So I think this one's the mana stacker, right? Maybe not. Okay, let's see. So you can go 1, 2, you can go 3, you can go 4, you can go 5, 6, and then you can go 7 to 8 or to 9. Okay. 1, mana leech is instant. Okay. 2, you cannot recharge energy shield. Mana leech effect also recovers energy shield. Okay. So you get energy shield leech instead, I guess. Chayula's gift, 10% maximum chaos resistance. That's pretty good. Chaos resistance is doubled. That's kind of nice. That makes it a lot easier, I guess. And then reality rending, 20. That's a weird 23% chance to gain 25% of damage with hit as extra chaos damage. 13% chance to gain 50%. 7% chance to gain 100%. What? Why are these numbers though? Why is it not 25, 15, and 10? Like 7%. Okay, I mean... They just hit randomize on it? So does that mean you have a 43% chance to gain... What is that? Like... If you just... Or is it... I wonder how it works. Is it 23% chance? And it has to be like what? 43, right? Feels like a big chaos inoculation build. Wait. Isn't... Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Also, Mom, right? Mana stacking, energy shield, and Mom. Because that's now 100%, right? Well, I guess maybe not. Then you don't need the energy shield. Then you just need mana stacking. Right? So rather than stacking the energy shield, you just do Mom. So CI with Mom. And then just mana out your ass. Acolyte, or for the mana stacker, it is Acolyte of Chayula, CI, Mom, mana out your ass. And then you'd go Ravenous Doubts. And you could do whatever, I guess. Okay, let's see what Waking Dream is. Into the Breach. Creates a breach around you, allowing you to see the flames of Chayula. You are considered to be in a breach when the skill is active. Flame of Chayula. Collect flames of Chayula grants the following bonuses. Red Flame, you leech 7% of your max life to you. Well, that's nice. Blue Flames, leech 7% of your maximum mana to you. Okay. Purple Flame provides a stacking buff, granting 7% damage to Chaos Damage for 5 seconds, stacking up to 10 times. I wonder how long you're in the breach. If it's just forever. No, effect and duration of flames are usually double. Wait. So you can get 70% damage as chaos damage for 5 seconds? And you can get that to 140? I wonder, so what when you open a breach? GGG is the kind of game company that would let this thing, Walking Dream, be active in map breach. Because you pick the Chayula demon. You just get to do breach better. GGG is totally the company that would do that. Everybody else would be like, no, we can't have them have an advantage. GGG definitely would. I wonder if you can make your maps easier by adding breach. Because you'll have an easier access to Flames of Chayula. But this also means that you want to use the breach rings, right? You're considered to be in a breach. So if you have a breach ring, it'll double effectiveness. That's what that means. So anything that you get a bonus from being in breach, bam. I wonder what the cooldown of it is. And the duration. That's kind of wild. Okay. 7. Embrace the darkness. Remove all spirit. Okay. Base maximum darkness is 100. So you get darkness instead of spirit. Yes. For each life or energy shield lost to damage, reserve 1 darkness instead if possible. Darkness reservation lasts for 10 seconds. Plus 5 to maximum darkness per level. So, if your boy is level 80, I'll get 5 per level. So I'll get 400. So I'll have 500 damage. Meaning every 10 seconds, I have 500 damage reduction. Flat. After everything. Essentially. And then you can gain 1% damage as extra chaos damage per 20 unreserved darkness. So your boy is level 80. I have 500 darkness. Meaning I get 50% extra chaos damage. So I can be doing 100 damage. Take Into the Breach, stack up my Flames of Chayula with Lucid Dreaming, and then Grasp of the Void. And I'm doing 190% extra damage as Chaos. That sounds like a lot of damage. It's also your entire Ascendancy. But like, that's essentially triple damage, no? You can get 3x damage. Yeah. And even more, no? I mean, depending on how everything is. Because when I hit, I'll do 100, and that'll be with all my multipliers, right? And then the extra damage, is that then gonna take the chaos things that weren't in the initial hit, or how did it work again? Is that gonna roll the things again? Surely it's not gonna take, like, if let's say I do 30% more damage to enemies, surely that's not gonna happen again, right? Imagine this with Flicker Strike stuff. I mean, you have to run into the Purple Flames of Chayula, though. You doubt map breaches are counting towards the buff? That would be insanity. I don't know, man. I mean, the buff is only if you pick up the flames, right? Just being in there is not going to do anything, right? Like, you have to pick up the flames. So it's just whether or not you have to have the Into the Breach active to see the flames, or if the flames will actually be in a breach map. It kind of, on one hand, creates a breach around you, allowing you to see nearby Flames of Chayula, right? That does sound like you have to press the skill to see them. But at the same time, you are... I mean, at least the breach rings will work, because it says you're considered to be in a breach while this is active. So anything breach related, any sort of... I wonder if the Paragon... Like, sorry, the Atlas tree is going to work on it. It says you're considered to be in a breach. Any breach related buffs should work. The question is if the flames are in the regular breach. That's the question. And the last one is Inner Silence. 50% reduced darkness reservation duration. So instead of 10 seconds, it's 5. Stop saying breach. Once more into the breach. This one, the Acolyte of Chayula, is the one I'm most excited for sure. 100%. I think I'm starting this. I think I am doing the... This is what I'm most excited for sure. Mana Leech with freaking... I kind of just want to do Walking Dream, bro. That seems dumb. What did they changed how Eldritch Barrier worked? Did that just turn Energy Shield into mana now? Dude, you'd be playing a dangerous game if you're playing CI with just Mom and mana. That sounds like something dumb enough for me to do. They didn't use to work, right? Like CI with Eldritch Battery, you're just dead. But now, Mom is 100%. Hardcore PU on softcore. But I mean, now they changed it, right? So Mom now, it's 100% of the damage is gone from mana. So the whole like, oh, you can't take Eldritch. Well, also Eldritch Barrier is different now because it doesn't move your energy shield over there. It just makes it mana, right? But with Mom, you should still be able to not have any energy shield in PoE 2 with Chaos Inoculation, right? Kind of like the reality rending as well. Just damage. I guess you could go full stupid, couldn't you? Reality rending, waking dream, and grasp of the void, right? Just all the extra chaos damage. 70 here, potentially 100 here, and then, well, 80 at level 80 it'd be what, 100% extra here as well. Just okay, this shit is cool. All right, I think I've lined up, or I know I've lined up some interviews. I wasn't really sure how long this was going to take, but we did spend 2 hours on it. This one's 1 hour 40. This one's 2 hours. 40 minutes? That fits. Ish. We're gonna go over, but I think we'll watch this one. It's IGN, so I don't know how good it is. We'll try.
Path of Exile 2 has everybody hyped, myself.
Okay.
Path of Exile 2 has everybody hyped, myself included, for the December 6th release of the beta. Now, I've been very fortunate in that I've gotten a few opportunities to play it over the last year. I've played The Witch, I've played The Rain.
Path 2? What do you focus on? Doing over there that's keeping...
Ask him a few questions. Now, I've never released these interviews before, but I thought I would do so right now to get some thoughts from him about Path of Exile, about the games industry, and what he thinks.
What are you doing over there that's keeping people into Path for over 10 years and excited about Path 2? What do you focus on to keep that going?
I really think that it's being unafraid of innovation. I think a lot of game companies, and especially as they get larger, they start to get very sort of dried in the wool, and it even happens within the studio. Like quite frequently, I propose a change, and I get a lot of pushback from people because, oh, this is the way we've always done it, you know, that kind of thing. And just even from that, like I don't think it's even necessary, like, you know, because people talk all the time about how, oh, you know, budgets get large and people get risk averse. I don't even think that's necessarily even the largest pressure. I think that what it is that even internal to the studio, you know, a lot of people get used to how things are. They want things to stay the same. Like many people who work for a game company are fans of the game. And so you get that same pressure of like, oh, you know, we can't change our flasks work. We can't change this. We can't change that. You know what I mean? And so we just have to really try to push through that. And so a lot of the time in the studio, what I'm doing is I'm saying to people, you know what? Like, even if you don't like this, we're going to try it. And if it's bad, then it's bad. And we'll just do something else. But if, you know, it's worth trying to do different things.
I don't like change for the sake of change. If you've identified a problem, I like change, but just changing the flask because changing the flask is, you have to stick to something, right? Like innovation for the sake of it, like stick to what works when it works and then change what doesn't work, right? Like, but I'm guessing they're doing somewhat the same. They did have issues with the flasks, so specifically that, I guess, but...
And I think that served us well. And every time we've taken risks, it's paid off, right? And every time that we've been risk-averse, I think it hasn't gone as well for us.
Why do you sort of stand out right now in the industry? I think about how you handled a recent difficult decision, I have to imagine, to delay the beta from November to December.
Not interested.
Well, let me rephrase the question.
Not to delay because the risks with the players, I think
it was all over the place. And then I watched yours, very succinct. It's received really well. I watched
like, you know, here is the exact thing that caused us to delay the game. We'll tell the players that, and they'll hopefully be understanding of that.
Yeah,
yes.
And I think it's received really well. I watched a different announcement from a different company, and it was all over the place. And then I watched yours, very succinct. You take responsibility, you apologize, and then you put it out there. And I as a player, really appreciated that because I am looking forward to the November date. What's the biggest issue facing the overall industry right now, in your opinion?
Oh, that's a tricky one. I mean, it's interesting because I think AAA gaming is in kind of in a weird place right now. Like, we're kind of in this weird, like maybe this is not the right, sort of AA territory where it's like,
I don't really care about these industry questions.
There's kind of not a lot of that going on. But at the same time, you know, there aren't a lot of those kind of indies coming up and sort of entering the big leagues either. And so play games, and I kind of don't know where it all went. Like, why do we now in this position where you've got the, like, there is definitely evidence that people appreciate a game more when graphics are a thing, but at the same time...
Oh, we're talking about graphics
indies where, you know, it can be hard to get the broader audiences. And, you know, like, I just don't know.
Okay,
we get to have, like, kind of nice core games, and you've got, of game developed, like, like, maybe this is not the right, sort of AA territory, where it's like, we're in this kind of position where, like, we're...
I am looking forward to the November date.
Okay, let's hear.
What's the biggest issue facing the overall industry right now, in your opinion?
Okay, so yeah, so he has double A.
You've kind of got the small games and you've got the big games. There's very little in the middle. So I think Path of Exile really is kind of in that sort of space. That one of the few games that kind of is in that type of area.
Like right in the middle.
Yeah, exactly. Right. You know,
I am going to watch the Sis and Jonathan interview, but stream is ending in 35 minutes, and that one is an hour and 40. So unless they release the tree tomorrow, we're watching that interview. And maybe even if they release the tree, like realistically, there's not that much I can gain from just looking at the tree. And I will be streaming Friday, so there is the option that we just start an hour earlier than usual, and we just sit there and look at the tree, see what we're gonna try and go for. But I think it'll be more fun whenever I open up the character and I'm like, whoo, late stream. Yeah, I'm gonna stream from 20 to 23 because well, maybe from 7 to, not necessarily from 20 to 23, but from either from 7 or from 20, because I think it comes out at 20, right, for my time. And then I'll either stream like an hour before and we'll sit and look at the passive tree and like kind of map out what we want to do, or we'll just start when the servers go live and we'll go until I go to bed. There's not much point in making an extra stream Friday. Isn't it 21? I thought it was 20. Path of Exile to early access release time. 7 p.m. GMT. And GMT is England, right? So I am GMT plus 1. So 11 a.m. PT? Yeah, it's 20. Yeah, so not much point in streaming early in the day because I'll just be playing Valheim and I have to get stuff done, especially if I'm going to play PoE all weekend. There is a chance I stream Saturday, but I'm not sure. I think I'm also going to cancel Sunday stream even, actually, but Nina's got vacation, so want to spend some time with her. Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll see. I have to sit down with my calendar and see.
So we get to have like kind of nice graphics and a nice budget and all that sort of stuff, but we also get to still be innovative and like do interesting things that other companies aren't doing. I really don't know how to sort of reclaim that middle again and sort of have the game industry.
I don't understand this whole like we get to be innovative. Why can't AAA be innovative? It's like I don't get it. It's like, oh no, the budget too big to be innovative. That doesn't make sense to me. Like, if you have a big budget, you should kind of have the resources to be innovative, no? Like, to get the ideas, implement them, and then test them? Like, I guess it's like, oh, we're too big to fail, I guess.
Industry have that kind of stuff again. And I think that really is challenging for the industry. Like, it used to be that there were a lot of what you might call AA games, and I kind of don't know where it all went. Like, why do we now in this position where you've got the like ultra AAA stuff, which is kind of very stolid and kind of not really going anywhere, and then on the other end of the side of things, you've got like the indies where, you know, it can be hard to get the broader audiences. And
I think AAA games are stalling because they're fucking greedy, monetizing everything. Blizzard peak example. And B, they're focusing on other things and just making good games. Like diversity, all that shit. Just make a good game.
You know, like I just don't know how you get that middle back.
Do you feel like there's been an over-prioritization put on graphics?
Well, you know, that's an interesting one. I think graphics are important. They actually set, like, there is definitely evidence that people appreciate a game more when graphics are a thing, but at the same time, like, you can do that stuff more efficiently if you're clever. And I understand it sort of may look like, you know, the part of the reason why AAA budgets have inflated so much is because, you know, of what they're doing with graphics.
Graphics again.
What did you say? I really don't know how to sort of reclaim that middle again and sort of have this position where you've got the like you get that middle back.
Do you feel like there's been an over-prioritization put on graphics?
Well, you know, that's an interesting one. I think graphics are important. They actually set, like, there is definitely evidence that people appreciate a game more when graphics are a thing, but at the same time...
I mean, graphics are important. I don't care. Everybody who's like, oh, graphics... No, graphics are fucking important. They're not going to make the game, but if you have a good game and you have good graphics, you have a great game. If you have a bad game and you have good graphics, I'll play it for longer than if it would have bad graphics. Like, good graphics are good. It's just gonna make the game better. It's just whatever X, right? Like multiplier. You just you have a good game with bad graphics, I'm gonna enjoy it less than good game with good graphics. It's not like you can't have just a game that's shit with good graphics. That's still gonna be a shit game, but I will play it for like 10-15 minutes longer than it was a shit game with shit graphics. Like, I don't know. I don't understand how it's controversial. It's like, yeah, graphics don't make a game, but it sure as fuck doesn't make it worse either.
Like, you can do that stuff more efficiently if you're clever. And I understand it sort of may look like, you know, the part of the reason why AAA...
Graphics are usually an afterthought for you. I mean, it's not, though. Because it's the first thing that hits you, right? Graphics is literally... apart from the sound, maybe, then graphics is the first thing that's gonna hit you. Like, you don't know how the game plays when you see the graphics. So it's the first thing to pull you in or push you away. And if they're good, they're going to pull you in. If they're bad, they're going to push you away. Right? Like, and it might not be a lot, it might be subtle, but it's the first thing you see. Unless there's sound, then that's the first thing, right? But it's your first impression. You played a lot of terrible looking games? Oh, for sure. But you probably heard they were good. You looked at gameplay, right? And they looked good. It's a genre you like. It's something you like. You have friends that played it or whatever. Like, graphics don't make a game. You can absolutely have a good game, an insane game with bad graphics, like Terraria, like Valheim. Although Valheim is strangely gorgeous, it's kind of stylized, so it's a... But Valheim is very pixelated as well, right? Like, Terraria has bad graphics, kind of. It's pixelated at least. Like, it's not great graphics at least. It's amazing game. Valheim, amazing game. There was one I was thinking about. Whatever. Like, a good game will succeed, but good graphics will make it a bit better. Thinking RuneScape, they're a bit technically bad, but still look amazing. I think, yeah, I mean, RuneScape specifically is a bit nostalgia, right? Like, I wouldn't really get into too many games that are nostalgia. Minecraft, right? Minecraft is another thing. It's another game that doesn't have very good graphics that's amazing, right? Like, like I said, graphics don't make a game, but they will make it better. Like, imagine for a second Valheim in complete ultra HD. There is something to be said for the enemies looking a bit stupid. But let's assume that we then had a stylized something that rather than pixels, it was smooth and pretty. Like, instead of the whatever, like your armor being like 4 pixels that are shiny or whatever linked together, you actually had something that looked like, I don't know, Elden Ring or something. It would be better, assuming your PC could fucking run it.
Like, budgets have inflated so much is
it's
because,
also harder to make
of what they're
because
doing with graphics.
If you fuck
but
it
at the
up,
same time, I do think
the problem is if you fuck it up or you have things that look out of place, then it crashes more, right? Stylized graphics is oftentimes better because when you go for hyper realism, then as soon as those graphics are outdated, the game looks bad. Whereas stylized lasts longer. Yeah. Oh, for fuck's sake, I pressed something.
I think that a lot of what they're doing, like, Like, you can do good-looking graphics by taking advantage of modern hardware without tying yourself into a process that leads to like a very expensive development process that I think some studios have. Like, we're able to produce a game with 100 bosses and like 800 monsters without having to, you know, fall into the trap of having to have a team that's like absolutely thousands and thousands in size. Like, it can be done. It's just a question of, you know, correct prioritization and the way that you do it. So I think it can be done. And as I said, players do value graphics. Like, it's important. Like, when people are looking at impressive boss fights, part of what they're looking at is the good animation and all the sort of work that we put into that. It's part of the spectacle and the charm. So, you know, like, a lot of people do say graphics aren't important. I actually don't agree. I think they are important. But then it's the same time, you have to be very careful not to waste time doing things, you know, like sanding under the drawers is what they would, Pixar, I think, used to say. You know, when you don't need to be doing that, you know, when you can be concentrating on stuff that's actually, you know, put the budget on the screen, as it were, as opposed to wasting a lot of time with things that people just don't really notice.
Do you think Path of Exile 2 is going to be able to dethrone Banana Game on Steam charts?
That's a tricky question. I think that when we go into full release, I think that there's a very good chance that we could end up topping the charts. But, you know, for early access, I'm not so sure. I guess we're going to see.
Aren't they already
I really
topping?
have no idea what kind of concurrency we're going to get for early access. Like, on the one hand, you know, like, it is a big... I think it's going to be a big, you know, tentpole release. On the other hand, you know, it is early access.
It's a cheeky way of asking how he thinks they're going to compare on the
But I guess the message to those people would be that, you know, we are a game that has the content of what a full AAA game would have these days.
But that's kind of cheating, though. That's a
much lower price point than what those games would be. So even though, you know, it's early access, I think that the value proposition is incredibly there. And I think we should be able to see some pretty big numbers on launch of early access as well. But certainly when we get to full release, I'm sure we're going to be topping the charts. I see no reason why we wouldn't be.
Confident, huh?
Oh, geez.
Absolutely.
Yeah, cool.
Oh, well, we're certainly going to buy enough servers for that.
Right. 2 was highest.
When you're
Let's
making
go.
a game, what's the most important consideration a developer needs to have when crafting the experience? What needs to be top of the priority list?
Ooh, it's
honestly a very difficult question because of the fact that a good game, is the culmination of getting every little tiny detail right. And it really is that defeat in detail, I think, that makes games feel bad. And the amount of effort, it honestly takes a lot of experience to get to the point where people even know what good looks like. I think, once again, a lot of AAA games these days are getting defeated in detail, right? Like, it's all of the little things that add together to an experience that, that isn't good, rather than it being just like one big issue. And I guess a lot of people, when they're analyzing games and why they're not doing well, they want to focus on, oh, it's because of this thing, and, you know, this big issue, it's because of that big issue. But I really think that gameplay comes down to getting 1,000 small details right. And if you do that, then the experience will be good. And it's honestly, like, I think even we underestimated what it would take to ship Path of Exile 2, because, like, just getting all those details right and, you know, like, getting all those things, like, it was very easy to be overconfident, especially at first when we were marketing the game.
Very well.
Because making a fresh game means getting all those details right again, and you know, getting all the, like, we were really overconfident about itemization. Like, it took a lot of iteration to get to the point where that was working. Like, we thought, oh yeah, you know, we'll just take PoE 1, make a few changes, and then we're good. No, like, it required like a huge amount of extra work. You know, like, all of those things, and like, you get one thing wrong, and immediately someone will have a bad experience, and they'll say that your game is bad. So it really is all those details that are required to get it done. So yeah, I honestly couldn't point to one thing. It's just like 1,000 things, but correct, and knowing what those are.
Yeah, I remember the old philosophy. I think it was Bungie who said it, like the 3 seconds of fun or something like that.
Sure.
Is that still one of the main things that you
I mean, sure, it's absolutely relevant, right? Like, you need to make sure that at every moment you are enjoying the experience that you're having. And, you know, and as I said, any one thing can destroy that. So you need to be very careful. I mean, in some ways, you could say that game development is more about not getting things wrong than it is about getting things right. Like, if you can polish absolutely every little problem that a player might have out of an experience, you can give them a good time, even though, you know, like obviously you need innovation as well, but like, it really is important just to not get any of that stuff wrong.
I get what he's saying. It kind of depends on the game. Because if I'm playing a game like Baldur's Gate 3, if the story is good and the characters are interesting and the, what's it called, the world is pretty, well, not just pretty, the world is interesting, right? The world, the characters, the story is all interesting and the dialogue is there. Then if they get the gameplay wrong, I wouldn't mind all that much. because then I'm just kind of watching a movie. For an ARPG, if the combat feels good, if I have stuff to work towards and I'm making meaningful steps towards it, like, yeah, I think Diablo 4 is a great example of getting a lot of things wrong and still coming out with a moderately enjoyable game in some regards. There's a lot I don't like about Diablo 4. There's a lot of things I find completely brain dead bad. But I've still played like 200 hours this season and had fun. Because I can get meaningful upgrades from gameplay. And the gameplay itself is enjoyable. So the fact that the itemization is kind of bland, the fact that there's no real like variation in the end game, the fact that the bosses are just loot pinatas, the fact that all the aspects are like pulverized does 100% more damage rather than core skills does whatever. Like the fact that there's no real like build diversity, like you have pulverized and then that has one or two ways to build it. They made it a bit better with the Spiritborn that doesn't have that as much that issue, but still there's a lot of those, like instead of it being projectiles now do X, it is fireball now do X. Like, so it's, and the talented twig and all that. There's so many things wrong with that game, and yet I still enjoy it for what it is. The Witcher 1, great story, trash gameplay. I liked the gameplay. It was kind of simplistic though. Very hack and slashy, and I kind of like that. I like the science and stuff. I didn't play it through though, so it might get old.
What makes you so confident that Path of Exile 2 has all those right things?
I guess we've done a lot of testing recently, and it was something that took us a while to get to and do all that stuff. But effectively, you know, we've beta tested a lot. We've done a lot of these events like that. We've got a lot of feedback. You know, it's helped a lot to get a lot more confidence. And I guess one of the things that also was, you know, a bit concerning when we first were doing all that testing is that we were finding that Path of Exile 1 players were not liking the game as much as new players were. So
yeah, it looked bad in the beginning.
By iterating more, by making it so those numbers became similar, it makes me actually a lot more confident, because I know that someone who knows Path of Exile, who knows how all the mechanics should work, is liking the game. And I also know that a new player who takes it on face value is who also doesn't have any experience with, you know, like who doesn't appreciate the game on the level of just like knowing about all the stats and everything, can also enjoy the game as well. And that makes me feel we've got both the kind of immediate, like, you know,
it seems like we're not going to get
few
any
seconds of playing,
like
it's just
real
enjoyable,
game
sort of going
questions.
well. And we've also got the kind of longer term, I'm caring about stats and how to build my character stuff right as well. And if we can get both of those things right, then I think we'll have a good game in our hands.
Yeah, I mean, I already told you during Summer Games Fest that I was really enjoying it, so
right.
Best of luck as we go towards December. I'm
Absolutely.
very excited.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You know, Path 2 is coming out. What are some of the pitfalls that you want to avoid with Path of Exile 2? And at the same time, what were some of your must-haves when developing a sequel to an already hit game?
Yeah, so I mean, the tricky part is that when you make a game, a sequel to a very popular game that has a very hardcore community, every single thing you change about it is like a potential point of friction for a community that's going to be like can be, you know, incredibly, you know, I mean, look, they've got a lot of opinions, right?
Yeah, every change you make, people are going to hate. There's going to be people that hate it. When you have a game like PoE that people have been playing for a decade, every change you make is going to be contested by some. You can tell he hasn't played PoE properly. I think it's less, it's more the scope is different, right? Like he is not so much asking about PoE 2, and he is more so asking about GGG and their philosophies and how they go about releasing a game and what they've put into this game, right? It's not so much like, what's the third Ascendancy for which? Right? Like, can we have whatever? Can we have dual wielding bows or what? It's not. He's not interested in the game directly. He's more interested in everything around it.
And so the pitfall that I worry about is, you know, like on day one you get a bunch of path. Like even though you know, like new players may play it and enjoy it. You might have a situation where like PoE1 players are kind of like, oh, you know, I don't like this. It doesn't fit to whatever I want. And so that is a really big problem. And we were actually very concerned about this because when we first did our user testing closed betas, we actually found that Path of Exile 1 players rated the game worse than what Path of Exile 2 players, what new players did. And that was a huge concern, right? Because it's like, well, we can't really launch like this. This would be a big issue. And so it took us a while to kind of get the game to a point where both PoE1 and new players both liked it. But yeah, we started from a point where new players liked it more than old players. And in fact, it was very interesting because Path of Exile 1 players actually rated the difficulty of the game harder than what new players did. New players rated the game as, oh, it's actually not that difficult. And PoE1 players were like, man, this game is so impossible. And it's just because they're trying to apply all the knowledge that they had from playing a game for 10 years to a game that has different mechanics and different stuff going on. So as I said, I think that's the biggest pitfall and the biggest potential.
Oh, they thought, oh, I know I'm just good, I'm applying all my knowledge. And then it just doesn't work because they haven't realized the mechanics are different.
Source of strife that we might get at launch is just, you know,
I won't have that issue because I neither know how PoE1 works or how PoE2 works, so we're gonna be fine.
A bunch of PoE1 players having issues, but as I think we've managed to solve those problems. There was just a lot of things around itemization and like the way the tree was, and just a lot of things like that that we had to deal with. And so in terms of stuff that I think that was just really important to get going from the start, yeah, I mean, this endgame stuff, I think that was something that we realized relatively late, that we really have to make sure that, like, you know, if we don't have a good endgame going into early access, then part.
Therefore, watch the legendary drop interview. Some philosophy-wise question. Yeah, I think we picked a bad one.
The Exile 1 players are just going to say, hey, this is just a worse game. You know, like, we need that stuff to be able to actually make a PoE1 player feel like, oh yeah, you know what, this is a true sequel to PoE1, because for a lot like,
so
PoE1,
far, I haven't heard anything I really interested
in. It's not even a
like,
thing for them anymore. They complete it
really.
in hours because they've done it so many times. Like for them, it's like just a tiny blip in the progress of a character, right? Because like they spend 99% of their time in in-game. So if we didn't have that, then I think it would have been a disaster. So thankfully, now that we've addressed that concern, we've got stuff. We believe we have enough of an in-game to make those people happy.
You know what? I'm gonna say fuck this. This IGN question was not what I wanted. I lined up the Scissorin one. I lined up Gassy TV and Daft Microtransactions, as well as Legendary Drops. That one I actually lined up. And this thing, Talkative Try, whatever that is, just so I had a few to pick from. And I actually did put them in. I put them in order of when I wanted to watch it, right? So Sis would be priority number 1. This would be 2. This one was 3. Big mistake. This was 4, and this was 5. So yeah. Sadly, we only had 40 minutes, so I picked this one. I thought it would be fine. This one was not what we wanted, so we're gonna call it here. I only got through 13 minutes and 40 minutes, so that's great. But yeah, I think tomorrow we'll watch Sis. We'll watch the Scissorin interview. And I'll try not to do too much. And then I guess if you say Legendary Drop, then we could do Sis and Legendary Drop. And then see if we can get through those tomorrow evening. And then I will add a stream on Friday. And it's up in the air whether we start 19 or we start 20 whenever the servers come up. And then we might just look at if they release the talent tree or whatever. So yeah. This is going to be it for tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. I am excited for Friday. It's going to be good. Tomorrow, 10 to 16, we're playing Valheim. We're going to go back to the mountain base, probably. Try to get that all lined out. Imagine the 3-hour queue. Yeah, that's going to be great. Hopefully, they let us queue before, so I can get in nice and early. Yeah. But yeah, tomorrow, Valheim 10 to 16. And then the evening, 20 to 23, we're going to do PoE again. So I hope I'll see you tomorrow. If not for Valheim, then for PoE. And sleep tight, guys. Good night.